Hello, welcome to Brunswick Junction. As this is my first video, I thought I would show you around the layout and give you an idea of what it's all about. So, Brunswick Junction is an 00 gauge model railway set in roughly the present day, and it's basically a heritage line pretty much so that I can run what I want. Starting over in this area we have small siding that was originally works but is now generally a storage siding for locomotives, especially steam, as you can see by the water tower. This is also an area that I thought would be good for use of my dead scatters, so I've made this a muddy area, as you can see with those bushes behind as well. Ignore these, they are just being stored there for the moment. I'm currently using a Gauge Master Prodigy Express DCC system. To add a little interest, let's get something run around the layout so you can watch it while I'm talking. To do the honours, I've selected a DRS Class 68 and a nuclear flask wagon. I know you will be thinking, isn't it meant to be a heritage line? But I'm afraid this isn't a channel for the rivet canters. So let's get this 68 running. There we go. 68. Now running around the layout. Moving on from the siding, we get to the station, which is the main part of the layout. As you can see, we have some lights, station lights installed and working, and next to them are some scale model scenery benches painted green, positioned at regular intervals along the platform. I do have a lot of stuff made by scale model scenery on this layout, including these station signs, and from a recent order, these litter bins. The portaloos are also scale model scenery. This isn't. I bought this for, I believe it was £2 from my local model shop, Romeo Models, and that, I don't know if you can see, it has been wired in and is now lit up. We've also got these rather nice flower bush type things, which were also from Romeo Models. Some milk churns there, Hornby scaled ale, £2 from Hatton's. Now the station building itself was actually bought cheaply for about £5 from a preservation society at, I believe it was the Epping Ongar Railway Steam Gala. I just thought, I saw it and I thought it would make a rather nice addition to the layout, so I bought it. That's replacing the previous station building, which was this. Now I didn't think that this was large enough, so I went for the one I've currently got. Moving on from that, we've also got the cafe coach style thing. This layout is loosely, very loosely based on the Epping Ongar Railway, and at their main station North Weald they have one of these. This is meant to be wired in and lit up, as you can see just there, but unfortunately they aren't working at the moment, so I'll have to get that fixed. The station building is also wired in and lit up. On from that, we've got the road. Now this was only very recently painted with some acrylic dark grey, I believe it's called dust grey, from John Dutfield, very good model shop in Chelmsford. Their prices aren't the cheapest, but they have a massive selection of rolling stock and accessories. Lots of the vehicles on this road will be buses. They come from my rather large collection. Here we have a rather nice little scene that I've made up. We've got two telephone boxes there from, I believe it's a Pico Pico kit, and I got them for £4 for both of them, pre-painted. Currently we've got an Optare Solo, but I can choose anything I want from my vast collection to go in this scene. We've got some people waiting for the bus there, and the bus stop. Also lying around the road at the moment are some cones, which I also got in the very recent scale model scenery order, which also, as well as that, contained this pavement. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do to get it round this corner, but I'll find a way. I think that looks rather good. Also on this road we've got some cars. So we've got a Land Rover there, Morris Minor van in there, I don't know if you can see. Network Rail Ford Transit, a Network Rail, another Land Rover which can be used on the rails, and another bus, Route Master, near the level crossing, which leads me on to the next section of the layout. Yes, so apologies for the track pins on top of the road. That's just obviously temporary. These are the level crossings which have been glued in place. We've got some trees surrounding the road, which were again bought rather cheaply. For, I believe it was £3 for 5. Some fencing there. I do need to extend that. And we've got some static grass, I don't know if you can see, slightly poking up there. I'm a relative novice to all of this, so nothing on this layout is perfect, and lots is pre-built, but I think it's a rather good introduction to the hobby for me. Here, as you can see, we have the signal box, which was again bought for £5 from the Ilford and West Essex Model Railway Club in Chadwell Heath. I've also added, just in there, yet another scale model scenery item, pre-printed signal box signs. I think this looks rather good. I bought it because I thought it would fit nicely in the layout. The signal box was originally going to go in the previous area that I showed you, just here. But when I got this new signal box, it was rather too large for this area, so I decided to have the road sweeping down here, which has ended up to be a better decision than it continuing down there, I believe. So I've been talking about the scenery, but I haven't mentioned much about the track. Along the front it's just a straight piece of track. This was all bought new from Hornby, which I realise now may have been a little mistake. I could have got it for lots cheaper. Coming up from the station we have a curved point, which leads into a recently installed, if you saw my previous video you'll see about that, passing loop around here, which allows a train to run in to the outer lane. I've currently got the 68 going around the outer lane, and another one to come in to the inner lane, and they can you can switch operation between two trains periodically. Coming off of the outer section of the passing loop, two sidings which go under this bridge, which I will come to later. I've currently got a scale model scenery building in there, which I do need to touch up, and that would probably be moved somewhere else. I just thought it looked relatively good there at the moment. Coming further round the layout, it's rather boring at the moment. We've just got the point coming back to a single line for the run along here. That's just a patch of attempted static grass. We've got some sheep and some cows, and that completes the circuit back to the station. Coming off from the circuit, however, just here is a point which leads to a 3-road depot type area. Now, this engine shed was very kindly donated by a family member who's also into the hobby. Unfortunately, it only fits one lane of the depot, but I think that looks rather good. We've got it wired in, if you can just see in there. Some very handy strip lighting by AGL Associates of Basildon. Unfortunately they've stopped going to shows, so we bulk bought about 5 or 6 of their brilliant strip lights at the last show. Also used throughout my layout are these Gauge Master buffer stop lights. They're brilliant. You just plug them into the track and they work straight away. That's on DCC. On DC they can be a bit troublesome because obviously they only work when you turn up the track. However, moving on, we've got this curve point after coming out of the station in the other direction, and this heads up the incline, which is a little dodgy to say the least, but I will try and get that fixed at some point. So this is a custom built structure, just made out of offcuts of wood and things like that. It's a single line which is basically parallel to the main loop along here, and it's rather steep incline, so quite a few locos can't make it up, but there are some that can, and those selected ones are the ones that I run up here. And there's a right hand point, another right hand point, and some little pieces of flexi track and curves and that to make a 3-road kind of fiddle yard type area along here. Now apologies for all the paint and the glue, that's just a practical storage location for it, but if you can see in there, it's 3 roads. Now this includes a runaround loop just here. It's length for about 3 or 4 coaches, and the loco runs up there and attaches to the front again. I didn't mention earlier, but the station is long enough for 3 coaches if the locomotive pokes out the front, or 1 locomotive and 2 coaches, or a 3-coach multiple unit, or anything like that is suitable for the station. But I do usually run consists a little bit longer. I can run 4 or 5 coach trains. I've got some nice Mark 1s that go well in a set, just as long as it doesn't stop at the station, it doesn't look ridiculous. So that's the layout done. Let's just bring this 68 to a halt in the station. And take a look at my loco fleet. So here we have my collection of rolling stock, rather eclectic mix to say the least. Let's begin with the wagons. We've got rather a lot there. I know I shouldn't stack them on top of each other, but it's really the only way I can store them. Got lots of box vans, cattle vans, which can make a 8-wagon rake including the brake van. I've got 4 brake vans at the moment, 2 Great Western, 2 the brown type. Lots of open wagons, rake of 6 HAA hoppers in there to make a nice merry-go-round train to go with the 66. We've got some of these John E. Page 21T hoppers which were only recently obtained. We've got some parcels, BR Blue parcels wagons in there, some siphon vans, GW 4-wheel coaches, which I know they're not prototypical, but then again, as I've said, it's not really a channel for the rivet counters. Here we've got another Royal Mail parcels coach, the Worley wagon in there, a EWS inspection saloon, and the nuclear flask you saw running around. In terms of coaches, you can't really see what any of these are, but I'll give you a quick run through. So, these 2 here are Great Western Chocolate and Cream Mark 1s. These 3 are Maroon Mark 1s. I try and get coaches in sets of 3, as that's a good length and that's what fits on my layout. I've got 3 Network South East coaches here, Mark 1 brake and 2 Mark 2 opens. I've got 3 BR Blue Mark 2s, again with 1 brake. You can't really see them, but just behind those in there is 2 Mark IIIs. The restaurant coach used to be part of that set, but I thought it was rather appropriate to put it by the station, because a buffet car in a 3-coach rate doesn't really go. And again, contradicting myself, I know. East Coast Mark IVs, I've got 3 of them. It's not really a heritage line thing, but they were going cheap, £11 each, and I just thought I need them, because I do like a bit of modern stuff on my layout too. So now onto my locos. I've got 2 EWS Class 37s, one of which is a dummy. All of these, unless mentioned, are DCC fitted. This is a Lima Class 47, which was kindly donated by a good friend. Not DCC fitted at the moment, but I probably will fit DCC to that. Got Class 50 in there, which is a very nice runner. One of my favourite locos, Network Southeast. And you'll see that in a Network Southeast running session coming soon. Most likely hauling those Mark 2s and Mark 1 you saw earlier. Here's the Class 66, normally used for the HAA hoppers. DRS Class 68, which you saw running around. And an EWS Class 92 for again for either the hoppers, or any of these locos can do any of, can haul any train, as rule 1, the most important rule. I've got 2 Random Network Southeast coaches in there, again donated very kindly by a friend, so they can run with the other Network Southeast coaches once I've weathered them up. Got J83 in there that I got with, it's a railroad version that I got with the mixed freight set that started me out about 1.5 years ago. Got a very, very nice, supposedly with smoke, but I haven't got it working yet, Schools class in there, and a Merchant Navy. These were again donated by a friend, neither are DCC fitted, so I've recently obtained an analog Hornby controller to run them. This one runs rather nicely. Merchant Navy doesn't seem to run, I'll have to try and fix that at some point. In there we've got an LMS Iver 4. If you can see that, that was the locomotive hauling the Santa Specials, if you remember from my previous channel. 4MT in there, BR Green. Doesn't seem to run at the moment, very well at the moment, so I'll have to sort that out. Got a, sorry for the focusing issues, it's rather dark in here. This was cheap from Hatton's, £24, DCC fitted, just really to haul my GW 4 wheels, and a Duchess of Gloucester in there, which is a very nice loco, but unfortunately it's got a bit of the metal has sheared, so I cannot run it at the moment. Taking a look at the other locomotives in my fleet, we've got BR Rail Freight 08 and another 08 in there, which is BR Green with wasp stripes. Fortunately that's the railroad version, which I got again with the mixed freight set that started me out in July 2017. So that's not a very good runner, so I don't use that very often, if at all. BR Blue Class 20, this is my only sound fitted loco at the moment, but I am hoping to get some more soon. Network Southeast Class 419 and BR Green Class 25. This really is the star of my fleet, this one. It's strange, I purchased this last minute at Worley for £55, DCC fitted, and it's become one of my favourite, if not my favourite, loco. Here we have the multiple units. We've got a Class 416 Network Southeast livery, which again was purchased from Worley. Unfortunately the lights in one of the coaches do flicker on and off. We've tried the best we can to fix that. It's a little less noticeable now, but it's still not perfect. Here we, talking of perfect, here we've got a BR Green Class 101. You can't really see it very well, but you would have seen it in previous videos. It's a lovely, lovely runner, lovely model. London Midland Class 350, which actually emphasises the fact that this layout is set a couple of years ago, maybe in 2015, 2016. Got a Greater Anglia Class 153, and just in there is a Network South East Class 121 bubble car. And unfortunately the passenger lights in that don't work, so that's going to have to be sent back to Hattons at some point. Maybe just the chip. I'll have to investigate a little more about that. So that's everything about Brunswick Junction as a layout, summed up. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.